Hi everyone! Creating HDR pictures is really easy with Hydra 4. Let me show you. Using several exposure shots for rendering an HDR image requires you to understand which zones can be used from each shot. That is to say, the zones where Hydra can find details that are useful for the output. In both Develop and Prepare modes, you can activate the Flash Extremes tool by clicking on the flash icon. In the Prepare mode, Hydra shows you which zones in the picture are lacking useful information due to the physical limitations of camera sensors. So here, in overexposed shots, the burnt zones, which are too bright, are flashing in black. In this example, you'll notice that the sky is too bright. As for underexposed shots, the zones which are too dark are flashing in white. The fence at the front is too dark in the example, and therefore lacks information. In Develop mode, the Flash tool shows you areas of your HDR picture that you can still improve by adjusting the tone mapper settings. Tone mapping is a process that includes 3 points. First point, choosing the central exposure level. The overall exposure slider lets you walk through light levels. It is a bit like choosing the best shot that represents the scene, but in this case you are not limited to the actual input pictures. You can choose any intermediate value on a continuous scale. Pick a value that best represents the mean luminosity level of what you want to show. Second point, adjusting the range compression. More compression means that shadows and highlights are brought closer to each other. Note that you are also able to adjust shadows and highlights independently if needed. Third point, you can apply more specific image adjustments. These allow fine-tuning the tone-mapped image appearance. These final adjustments can be made selectively for specific scopes, like increasing contrast in the blue tones only. Brightness and contrast adjustments are also available. Hue allows to change the tint, blue to red for instance. All these settings can be applied overall or for these specific scopes: highlight tones, shadow tones, red, green, or blue tones. You can increase details selectively in the shadow areas, for instance. So with all these adjustments, you can freely experiment within Hydra 4 in order to create the most beautiful HDR picture. If you don't know exactly which kind of HDR image you intend to process, no problem. Keep the settings you like and compare them in a single project by using Snapshots. Snapshots are accessible from the Presets and Adjustments tabs in Hydra's Develop mode. How does it work? Imagine you are editing and fine-tuning your project by changing the brightness or the contrast, for example. When you are satisfied with the result, click the plus button next to Snapshots. A white dot appears in the first circle in the row. It means that you saved the adjustment settings. Now, if you want to try other settings, just continue adjusting those in your project and save them by clicking on the plus button again. A white dot will appear, and so on. If you click the first white dot later, Hydra will automatically reapply the settings you saved. In a second, you can switch from a photorealistic image to a surrealistic one without manually changing any settings. The snapshot which is currently selected and viewed in Hydra can be easily identified by a darker circle. Do you want to get rid of a snapshot? Click the minus button to remove the snapshot which is currently selected. Now that you are done fine-tuning your HDR image, you can export it. Do you have any other questions about Hydra 4? Don't hesitate to watch our other tips and tricks videos or contact us. We are on Twitter.